Chapter 3: The Cracks Beneath the Surface. Ethan Miller sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turned white. The memory of Layla's confession burned in his mind like a fresh wound. He'd been her anchor, her steady ground. But now he felt unmoored, drowning in a storm he couldn't control. The image of Layla with Professor Graves played over and over in his mind. Her apology, her tears, it all felt hollow. The woman he had planned to marry had been leading a double life, and Ethan couldn't make sense of it. He pulled out his phone and stared at Marcus Hale's contact information. Marcus was a private investigator, someone Ethan's family had turned to for discreet matters in the past. With a deep breath, Ethan made the call. "Ethan," Marcus greeted, his tone steady and professional. "What's going on?" "I need you to look into someone," Ethan said, his voice tight. "Daniel Graves. He's a professor at Layla's university. I think he's been involved with her." Marcus paused, then replied, "All right, send me his details, and I'll start digging. Give me a few days." Ethan ended the call and stared out at the city lights. He didn't want to go down this path, but he needed answers. He needed to know if there was more to Graves than Layla had told him. Layla sat alone in her dorm room, staring at the small plastic stick on her desk. 2 pink lines stared back at her, unyielding and undeniable. She was pregnant. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. She typed out a message to Ethan, but stopped halfway through. What could she possibly say? After everything that had happened, this news would only complicate things further. Instead, she called the one person who had always been there for her. Tia. "Tia, I need you," Layla said, her voice cracking. "Can you come over?" 15 minutes later, Tia arrived, dressed in designer jeans and a silk blouse that screamed effortless wealth. She took one look at Layla's tear-streaked face and frowned. "What's going on?" Tia asked, sitting beside her. Layla wordlessly pointed to the pregnancy test. "Oh my God," Tia breathed, her eyes wide. "Is it Ethan's?" Layla nodded. "It has to be." "And does he know?" "No. I don't even know how to tell him," Layla admitted. "Especially after everything else." Tia placed a comforting hand on Layla's shoulder. "You have to tell him, Layla. This isn't something you can keep from him." Layla nodded, wiping her tears. "I will. I need time to figure out how." Meanwhile, Marcus Hale sat in his car outside Professor Graves' office. He had spent the day observing Graves and compiling information. There were whispers among the faculty, rumors of inappropriate relationships, but nothing concrete. Marcus snapped a few photos as Graves exited the building, then made notes on his behavior. He planned to dig deeper into the professor's past, but for now, he had enough to report back to Ethan. Later that evening, Marcus called Ethan. "I've started gathering information," Marcus said. "Graves has a clean record on the surface, but there are rumors, whispers of misconduct with students. Nothing that's ever been proven, but it's worth looking into further." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Keep digging. I need to know everything." As Marcus ended the call, Ethan felt a wave of anger rise within him. He couldn't undo what had happened, but he could make sure Graves didn't hurt anyone else. Back in her dorm, Layla stared at her reflection in the mirror. The weight of her secrets felt unbearable. She had to tell Ethan, but she also feared his reaction. And then there was Professor Graves. Though their connection had felt electric and thrilling, it now seemed hollow in the face of her reality. Her actions had consequences, and she was starting to feel the full weight of them. Layla took a deep breath, placed a hand over her stomach, and whispered, "I'm sorry." For the first time in weeks, she felt the enormity of what she had done, and the road ahead felt more uncertain than ever.